right, welcome to the Patriot Hour.
Good morning, good morning.
We are here in the studio bringing you a special show today. We've been talking about something that we're going to be kicking off at least once a week at a minimum, folks. A minimum.
Finally getting at it.
We got Scott in the studio today. Scott, what is your take
Ask me the agenda.
on everything going on this past weekend, possibly?
What a mess. What a mess. Their agenda is in full effect. They got you looking one way and showing you other things. It's a mess. It's a deep topic. Lots of things going on. I'm going to jump into this as soon as Mike goes over the Q information. I am learning about the Q. Pretty exciting, hard to follow. You got to learn the basis, the steps on how to learn it or how to read it. Mike's becoming an expert very quickly, and I hope to catch up with him.
We are definitely, before we even got started here today, we were going over a few things, and yes, Scott is a quick learner, and he is up to par on almost everything. But yeah, these Q posts kind of came out of nowhere, and same with me. I'm scrambling to keep up and trying to get the correct information out there. We don't want to spread anything fictitious. So if at a minimum I've been reading them, like I said in the past, it's just for the folks out there that are too busy. Maybe they're listening to me while they're driving, got some headphones on while they're working, something. And we're just going to at least try to get them, at least, read out to you verbatim. So at a minimum, that's what we're doing on the Q post anyway. So yeah, let's jump right into that. And let me, Scott, why don't you talk for a minute here about anything that you can think of, because actually I have to get another screen up here.
All right, while Mike's doing that, I'm going to kind of get into the topic of guns. That's what everybody's talking about lately. We're not going to get into too much of that right now, but while Mike's getting set up, I will tell you we will be talking about the gun topic. My take on it may not be what you think, but we're not here to agree with you, and you do not have to agree with us. We are just going to voice our opinions and our points. That's why we do what we're doing. For one, they're standing out in front of the White House right now in protest over guns. So that shows you that the liberal agenda is in full effect. Mike might be ready here with the Q. So we'll jump back to guns, but I'm going to pass it back to Mike and let the Q segment get started.
Okay. All right, folks. We're going to jump right in here. Like I said, taking it over to post 780. For those of you just tuning into all this kind of the Q post, the very first one was late October. You start with one. So they are, this is post 780 on February 18th at 16:07. I believe that was, yes. Okay. So that was the first one Q posted 16:07 yesterday. That's 4:07 p.m. for some of you folks out there. Never gotten over the fact that Obama was able to send $1.7 billion in cash to Iran, and nobody in Congress, the FBI, or Justice called for an investigation. Reread crumbs. So this was a post that looks like Q took Donald Trump's tweet and put it back up here for context, and now underneath he's telling you to reread the crumbs around this. What is the reason this is being brought back up? ? There is a purpose for every tweet and crumb drop, period. Follow the money, period. Future proves past, period. The Great Awakening, period. No escape, period. No deals, period. Trust the plan, period. Happy Sunday, Q.
Trust the plan.
Trust the plan. Going to post 781, February 18th, 2018. That was at 1749. So 549. Trust Sessions, period. Trust Ray, period. 2018 will be glorious, period. Q. Post 782. He retweeted a Donald Trump tweet or posted a picture of it. Hillary, this is Hillary Clinton should have been prosecuted and should be in jail. Instead, she is running for president in what looks like a rigged election. This is from October 15th. And he put thoughts of the current president of the United States.
Boy, he was dead on. Dead on.
Yep, this is what's probably coming down, folks. It's looking like it's being exposed. Post 783, some clipboard images. Looks like there's some, Bill and Melinda Gates, the Microsoft, the Google, a couple different logos here, some symbology possibly. He reposted some other Anon, anonymous person from 8chan. And for context, took this person's post and, put, oh, blank. This page says it's sponsored by Bill Gates and Google. Epic. Looks like the Russian Ganat thing, walnut sauce sign that the autists dig up. Am I right on that?
Yeah, I'm reading the same thing you're reading. I will tell you, there was no blanks. He is dropping the bomb, the F-bomb, but we're going to do our best never to really do that, although we will make mistakes.
Yes. And again, this is just Q reposting somebody else's little tweet on 8chan, so he's putting it here because he responded to it. So he's responding directly with this call tag 422606, which would have been this guy here, 422606. And he put, Gannett is also located in McLean, Virginia. Coincidence? Question mark. Just the tip.
It's always a coincidence. Always.
Yes. And that, it just doesn't exist, folks. Not that many. All right, so moving along, 784. This came out at 2041, so 8:41 p.m. last night. At Snowden. Where are you? Question mark. Not Russia, period. Eyes on. You are now a liability, period. Helping at Jack, question mark. Project Deep Dream, version 2 or V2. We will never forget, period. Edward Snowden failed, period. Where is Edward Snowden? Question mark. John Perry Barlow, the creator of the internet. And other posts below, they're linking that Snowden. Let me keep reading here, folks. Where is Edward Snowden, period. John Perry Barlow. Define the end, question mark. The day of reckoning is upon us. John 3.
3:16.
3:16.
John 3:16.
Something's going on there.
I want to know more. I want to know more about how to understand and break this down. I sure hope somebody will email us and help us.
Help us. Comment below. Email us.
I can take bits of it. Mike is a hell of a lot better at it than I am, but it does raise the curiosity eyebrows.
Okay, so...
For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. That sounds like my president-elect.
Yeah, Q plus on this one, by the way, folks. So that was at, 2057? 8:57 p.m., post 785. I got this going.
Okay, see, all right.
786. Scott, go ahead.
786, clean action approved, period. Highest authority, period. Clean action. What are they speaking about?
And then the last two, 787 and 788. One was at 2120, one was at 2115. So they were definitely two separate, but...
My favorite, for God and country, period. All capital letters.
Yes.
God and country. Boy, he's going to be shamed by a certain party. Cannot bring up God, for heaven's sakes. Just can't do it.
Nope, that is definitely, like we said, we're going to be breaking them down. We don't want to jab at the jaw too much and just start going. We could, if that's what you want to hear, but we want to go.
No, we certainly could, but we would probably be more wrong than we would be right, and we really don't want to go that route.
No, exactly. So we will get back to you as soon as we break those down, and we're taking all the crumbs and trying to make a full sandwich out of it, folks, for you. So just give us time to investigate, more things to come out, and then we'll get back to the Q stuff. But for now, we'll just keep reading them and breaking them down a little bit. Or if they're very obvious, we'll speculate maybe. But we'll let you know.
We do encourage you helping us help you. We're here to learn as well. So if you have information or you can help break these down, we are all ears. You can reach out to us, and we will go over it together.
Yep. All right. Well, let's jump in to some of the other hot topic, which is, prayers go out for definitely to the families in Florida. Not hot event, but the topic of gun debate
The hot
is
topic.
coming back up.
It's sad that it has to be a topic. I in no shape or form will agree with anybody being crazy and picking up a automatic weapon, a semi-automatic, or just a single shot weapon to murder anybody. Murder is not okay, but driving a Lowe's pickup truck, throwing a rock, using one's fists, knives and fists
Yeah.
killed more people last year than guns. We should be outlawing and banning hands. We must take off the hands. The point is, guns are not the problem. I'm going to get into this more and more. I try not to. I'm very passionate about this topic. You cannot take the guns from the people. The Second Amendment is not going to let that happen. And as long as I'm alive, I'm going to fight for that right, for us to continue to have the Second Amendment right. I don't want you losing the Second Amendment right, just like I don't want you losing any of those rights. They were promised to us, and they will stay. It is not a living and breathing contract. It is firm and solid on paper. But again, this topic is terrible. I thought long and hard about how I wanted to go about talking about this, and the biggest thing is, let's not look at it as a terrible monster. This is a big pizza, and we can bite it off piece by piece. But you have to be open minded about it. The young man that actually committed the crime, as far as I know, he was looked at multiple times. There was a lot of people that probably were involved with missing out on the information. It's not like he just popped up one day and did this. There were a lot of signs. I don't know.
Lots of warnings. They're saying the FBI missed what they had a couple calls come into the national call center. Might have been the wrong number, like the 1-800 FBI number. But it's like, yeah, we'll get that message over to the Miami office, and it looks like they did drop the ball on that. Like the message never got over there, or they just dropped the ball.
30 sometimes, I think, is what I'm seeing. I could be off a little bit, but the number 30, 34 altercations or times the police have either been to his home or had a call about him. So I'm not going to go pointing fingers, but honestly, this might be one of them situations that, hey, this could have been prevented, or at least looked at a little bit more in depth. But I'm not going to play the pointing game. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to say that this is a horrible event. But no way, shape, or form should we just be attacking guns. Guns did not do this by themselves. The gun did not walk into that school and pull its own trigger. If this young man wanted to kill that many people, I'm certain he could have done it with a pickup truck or a bottle of gasoline or whatever. But we have to take the focus off the guns and maybe get back to a little bit of the biggest problem that you'll always hear me comment on. It's a morality thing, folks. This is not a gun issue. This is a morality thing. When I was growing up, this didn't happen. When you were growing up, if you were 40, 50 years old, this didn't happen. I mean, Cat Stank did happen. A few of these things did happen, but children weren't walking into schools and murdering each other because of bullyism or whatever, or because they seen it in a video game. Mainly because video games weren't like what they are today, so maybe that is an issue. But this is a huge monster, and we have to nibble at it. The gun is not the head. The gun is just nothing more than a toe or the tail. But it certainly is not the head of the beast. Our morality issue in this country, that would be the head of the beast.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with all that. Getting back to the basics and teaching, firearms safety to the kids. But yeah, no, as far as what has changed in the past 20, 30 years, that is very interesting topic that's been coming up more than, just in the media platform. We got to look outside the traditional
The governmental box.
Yes.
The governmental box. It's
That's-
the guns problem is what the government wants you to believe. And some of you do believe that.
Yeah.
And if you got a good argument, I'm all ears.
We would love to hear that argument. It's just like I hear, oh, the Second Amendment's outdated. Like you said, it's not a living or something that is going to change with people. It would be no different than like the First Amendment. How we've talked about that being not up to par either. Like
Correct.
this right now, we're talking into a microphone and we're reaching maybe dozens of. This was never thought of by the founding fathers. Maybe I should be restricted in my speech.
Well,
Perhaps
you
on
certainly
this
should. You
or
certainly
Facebook,
should. You should only allowed to be stand on the corner on the light pole and speak like
Yes.
they did 300 years ago.
As
yelling
far
to
as a voice can yell from the top step of town hall or something, right? That was all they thought of. They never, oh, that's foolish to think that way. Well, the black powdered musket was the most powerful. They had cannons and stuff, but yeah, the black powdered musket was the most powerful weapon at the time, and it was given for man to have. So
the one-shot musket. I gotta imagine today if the Constitution was written today, if for some reason, and God help us if we ever get back to that point, if a Constitution was written today, do you suppose they would be saying, a musket is the only thing you can? No. We don't use muskets anymore. It's just not a fair assessment. You cannot read that Constitution and say. Matter of fact, nowhere in the Constitution does it say what kind of gun. It says
right.
you have the right to bear arms. And let's not forget, it's not for just personal protection. It's also to protect you from your property being taken from you, and not necessarily by civilians either.
and I believe it was probably at one point thought to be of a even playing ground. You can't. It does say from a treasonous government, by the way, in the line items. So it's like, how do you even begin to take that on if you only got like a BB gun, if that's all you're left with, So,
I'd like to think that the founding fathers thought that might have been the biggest reason for the Second Amendment from a corrupt government. I think they counted on you getting along with your neighbors, although if you don't get along with your neighbors, that doesn't give you the right to go to their property. I mean, you do have the right to protect your property, but I truly believe the Second Amendment was most likely put in play for the biggest reason, and that is to protect us, the people, we, the people, from a tyrannous government. And that topic can go on and on and on. The easiest way to protect yourself from a tyrannous government is probably term limits, but that will be another day.
And who decides when they're treasonous?
Certainly not us.
All right. Well, I pulled up some stats here. You'd be able to see them over there.
Boy, yeah. Gosh, you just hate facts. Facts just stop everybody dead in their tracks.
And this is everytownsresearch.org, folks. So, I did a little bit of looking at this before, but, hey, I'll put the link down below if you want to check it out for yourself. So look in the description box below the video. But yeah, let's look at this. Gun violence by the numbers.
Oh, man. On an average day, now this is sad. On an average day, 96 Americans are killed with guns. Man.
96. And now that's just America. So that's just here. Okay.
Well, only in America do people get killed with guns.
Well, yes.
Nowhere else.
Just
I
here.
mean, they keep saying, listen to Great Britain and Australia.
They're banned everywhere
works.
else.
Yeah. Never mind the guy in Great Britain running around with a machete chopping people up at bus stops.
well,
if I had a gun, maybe I could have stopped him. But
I had a good conversation with the guy the other day that was telling me, look at Australia. They banned the, the AK in 1986 or 85. And look at here and guns. And I'm like, well, great. Let's look at another one. You found one that it's kind of working. But let's look at Mexico. Bring up their numbers. Their guns are banned. The cartel, the government, and
how is it that they're banned and they still get them? This is one of the biggest questions, and I know people like me will defend the Second Amendment with this. I thought they banned crack cocaine and marijuana and all these other narcotics.
Yeah,
why the hell are they still on the streets?
They're just having a hard time, getting all of them off there. It's coming. They're working on it. They're learning.
Yeah. I love the devil's advocate side. I love this side of it. The government says let's ban it. Wow, that's going to solve the problem. No. Actually, if you look at facts, facts. The more guns there are in law-abiding citizens' hands, the crime rate seems to go down.
Yes. Yes.
But when they tried prohibition, what happened? They banned alcohol. How many hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands and thousands of people were murdered over booze? So they legalized it again, and look what happened. The Al Capones of the world kind of didn't rule the streets anymore, over booze anyway.
We know what happens when regulations...
Oh, they always work, don't they?
Yeah.
They
They
always work.
So, all right.
The word regulation. Gosh, every time they regulate something, it just gets better.
On average, there are nearly, 13,000 gun homicides a year in the United States?
Well, somebody used their math, 96 times 350, 65. So that's kind of a redundant fact, but it's fun to put it in big bold.
Let's see if they spun it a third time.
Yeah, right. For every one person killed with guns, 2 more are injured. Wow. Think about that.
Is that like an exit wound, like in and out? Like
Sure, yeah.
Forearm?
I shot you in the head, it went through you and killed or wounded 14 other people. I guess that brings the stats.
2 birds with 1 stone type
Yeah,
thing. I
yeah.
got you.
Well, that's called gun control, being able to hit your target, I suppose. And I'm not making light of this at all, but I'm going to laugh
outside
at
of a
these
barn.
stats. Yeah. Because I bet I could go to a DUI page and look for every one person drunk that slams his car into a minivan loaded with children. Boy, I think that would be an interesting stat. But by God, keep driving. Keep on driving.
Well, that
keep
was
trucking.
this argument with this guy. I was like, well, guns, just, not even putting the drunks in there that hurt people, just accidents where people die. And he's like, well, cars weren't built and intended to kill people, but they are.
Yeah, yeah. The
They
Menards
are.
pickup. The Menards pickup. NYC. That was a formidable assault weapon. See, the minute they use it as an assault, it becomes an assault weapon. So the
Assault
Menards
fork.
rental truck is an assault rental vehicle.
And I'm sure people have been stabbed with forks. That's an assault fork. Assault silverware. Pick up at your local Meijer.
Yeah, the pressure cooker, the assault pressure cooker. Yeah, not only do we assault the food into what is it, 45 minutes, you can have a prestigious meal made with a pressure cooker. But
Yes.
you can also use it as a prestigious assault cooker. But boy, they're still on the shelves. Why have we not banned them yet? Go ahead, Mike, read that one.
7 children and teens are killed with guns in the U.S. on an average day.
Now I'm having a hard time understanding.
7
7 children and
teens.
teens.
So in between, is it like 4 kids maybe, and then, you got 3 teens, and then maybe the next day it's 3 children and, 4 teens? Or it's just
Why
on
did they
average?
just say, if they would have said 7 children, wouldn't we as intelligent Americans or listeners from anywhere really look at that and say, well, they must be speaking of people about under 18 years of age. But no, we've gotten to the point with analytics and verbiage. 7 children and teens. Well, maybe that's one of our other problems we can talk about another day. Teens are still children, folks. They live under your roof. They are children. They're not adults. In an average month, 50 women, and there's the woman. I love it how they just do that. 50 women are shot to death by intimate partners in the United States. Now,
Is this before or after?
my question here would be 50.
They pop it off.
50 women. Could that stat went to 51 if they include men, or are we just only going to talk about women now? You see, this seems there's an agenda that we're reading here.
Oh, yeah.
Mikey did a good job of finding this. I don't know if it's obviously.
It's a .org, so normally I trust the .org.
Yeah,
They're an organization.
yeah. I'm
but,
trusting them
hey,
less and less.
Yeah, me too. Organizations.
In an average
Bad.
in an average month, 50 women only, just 50 women are shot to death by intimate partners in the United States.
Now, are these women involved with other women, or is it men? That's just saying by the intimate partner. So,
Well, if we dig too deep in that one, we will offend somebody. But I'm offended right now, and I love the word offended. But 50 women. I don't see another stat on this page that talks about men. So I guess only men are killing women after
Right here.
being disgruntled.
if you've scanned a few more,
Oh
I see.
Christ!
black men.
They went with color, and yeah, we'll get to that one. But
All right, gun homicides per 100,000 residents.
Oh,
It
geez.
looks like the U.S. is just.
I'm going to stop you here.
That's a flagpole.
I was involved with a debate the other day, and I'm glad that we're doing this show because this is where Mike and I can actually talk about what we want to, and we'll bring you on. And I'm not just going to be biased, but I got into a debate.
This is the whole point. This
Yeah.
is why we did the show.
Yeah.
It's our platform.
So I'm on a
do what we want.
in a
Go ahead.
debate on Facebook with a guy the other day, and some gal chimed in. It's funny, women. A gal chimed in and said, "Well, you know, Scott, we're number one in the world with gun homicides." And I went, "No, there's no way that's right. No way. I mean, we're not even a third world country." And she says she comes back later with this article. So I go on the old Google. I love the Google. So I Google this, and she was right from her stat. But what she forgot to fail to say was she was looking at a stat about 22 top industrialized countries, right? Okay. Well, so maybe she was right there, but she certainly said in the beginning that it was the number one in the world. And then quickly I said, it looks like we're number one out of 22 countries. Aren't there 100 and I don't even know.
It's like 205 now or
205.
something. Don't quote me. It was the last.
So if we're 23rd in the world, I'm okay with that because hell, we're 23rd in killing babies.
Yeah.
We're in the top 10 in a lot of things. Most of them not good in my eye, but anyway, I thought it was entertaining that this seems to be one of them same stats. And if you look at it, I don't know if Mike can put that back up there, but if you look at those little tiny flags, those are industrialized countries, better places to live than America. So
I clicked on that just to see if it would do something, and it did.
and it did. It just jumped. But so anyway, you'll have to take our word for it that apparently we're number 23 out of industrialized countries. So move there. I'm okay with you moving there. Go ahead, Mike.
Background. Look, we're going to move over to background. Denied. Background checks have blocked over 3 million gun sales to prohibited people.
Okay, so this is not an agenda-based.
This is giving you facts.
Yeah, this one looks factual. Like they jumped back to.
So that one's saying that
Apparently, we're doing some good with background checks.
yes, it's stopping people that have been red flagged, something coming up in the system when they go to pull it. It's
Sure.
actually, hey,
I'm all for background checks.
yep, me as well, folks. Put me on that list because hey,
I don't want to be the guy telling another guy he can't have his right, though. I mean, there are powers that be that take care of that, courts and juries and that sort of thing. But I certainly don't want my government always being in charge of prohibiting anything.
yeah, the more regulation.
I could get into a list of things I would like to prohibit them from. More than 8-year terms. Why do they give themselves raises and we don't get to vote on that? Let's prohibit some things ourselves,
Just get
people.
back to the day when they leave their states. Your family stays back. You go off and you do, get back home as quick as possible.
Yeah, it used to be a civil duty to serve your country. It wasn't a career option. So anyway, we're going to number 9 on the list here, 9 out of 10. Black men are 13 times more likely than white men to be shot and killed with guns. Now you see, here they are putting a wedge between people again. I don't know that I care about the demographic. I think we're all intelligent enough to know that inner cities probably do have more gun crimes. And by the way, Chicago has the toughest gun laws in the country. They're prohibited, yet people are dying at the rate of 6 to 10 a day. And I'm smart enough to understand that in the inner cities, there are predominantly, sorry, my verbiage is terrible, more black men than white men in the inner cities. Mike and I are not here to ever talk about black, white, and green, and purple because here at the Patriot Hour, we are all American.
We're all patriots. Well, we hope we are. But yeah, we're not here to drive any wedges or,
But that's what they just did.
but that's what they do. That's the facts they like to throw. So
So what are they trying to say? A black men are more likely to kill one another with guns than white people.
well, that's the actual statistics. You look at the black on black crime, like you said, down in Chicago. But that's it. So black men are 13 times more likely than white men to be shot and killed with guns.
I need to get some of my American buddies.
And we know there's more, what the black population is like 13% in the U.S. or something. I mean, and then the Hispanics like 18 or 19, and then Yeah, the rest are white skin. So there is more white people. We know
Sort of.
that by numbers, by sheer numbers, but yet there's more. Okay.
But this stat's trying to say gun violence is higher amongst black folk.
guns like to kill black people more. I mean, but it's not the
Well,
gun
those guns are
doing it.
racist. Those
Yes.
guns are racist.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. But at the point that the white man would kill the black man, then it becomes racist. Only then. I don't want to get too crazy with that because
No, those are
racism
just-
is nowhere to be found in this studio.
Not that it's not important, but those are little eddies, and you get caught in them eddies, and you just keep going in circles and circles, folks.
And that's what they want out of you.
That's what they want.
Keep you divided.
We're going down the river here, so we got to keep on floating.
Yeah,
because these eddies, man.
Stay the course.
All right, go ahead.
The last one. This one's a little bit winded. The presence of a gun in a domestic violence situation increases. I love that word. Increases the risk of the woman. Here we go back to the women only.
the corners, man.
But increases the risk of the women being killed by 5 times. Now, I have a problem with this stat, and whoever put this up, I would love for them to call in, email, come and sit in our studio, because what they did here, again, was women. You see how if you break down any governmental or anything, an agenda, you will see words like
Black
this.
man,
Black
woman.
man, woman, increasing 5 times in bold, big red letters. Well, again, I think most of us are smart enough to know, my wife and I get in a few arguments from time to time. I have some guns in the house. If she was nuts or I was nuts, of course having a gun around would make that conversation or that fight or that argument a little scarier. But we got a little thing in our house called love. That hopefully will prevent these problems.
Exactly. Well, it's like that is interesting. And folks, I didn't mean that before I put, hey, the corners. Yes, they put the women one here and this other woman one here, and they are on the corners of the box. That
Almost a
doesn't-
pillar of their agenda.
Yeah.
See. Is this on the? Are we live? with
Not
this
women on the corner. Don't take it that way. That's not what I mean.
Down on. Was you able to bring this up so now the listeners are seeing this or the followers or what? Okay, so you were able to bring it
Yeah,
up.
the whole
Good.
time. Yeah, that's
Good.
what they were seeing. So, yeah, folks, that was
look at that.
data from the U.S. Centers of Disease Control and
And
Prevention (CDC) show on the average. So this is
A governmental agency.
here. Hey, look, view CDC data on people killed. So this website has some links in there, folks. I'll definitely put that in there for you. I don't know what does what.
Ooh,
but
suicide.
we
Ooh,
go.
ooh, look at this. Look at this. It looks to me that more people are they better not be including suicide into my gun laws and what. I can't stop you from killing yourself. Let's bring that up into the topic. Guns kill people, right? So if you were a homicidal person, is that the right word for committing suicide? Suicidal, sorry.
Yeah.
Suicidal person.
Homicidal, suicidal.
Are they bringing in these stats? Because if you really wanted to kill yourself and you didn't have a gun laying around, I would love for some professor or doctor to answer this for us, Mike, come in the studio and say, well, if there's a gun in the house and somebody's suicidal, they're probably going to kill themselves. I mean, that's their goal. Okay, what about the 12,726 annual average? Whew. I sure would like to know out of the annual suicide numbers, how many of those are caused by guns? Ropes? Asphyxiation via sitting in your garage?
Wait, so this is all over guns, right? This whole
Yeah.
So 96 are killed with a gun. These are by guns. So there's homicide, suicide by gun, unintentional by gun, undermined intent.
There's a big
Oh,
fancy.
undetermined. My bad. Undetermined intent. So like,
But all gun.
did he die by suicide or did he die by? They didn't know. And
Well,
those categories. Wow.
We know how that goes sometimes. Sometimes people commit suicide with 2 shots in the back of the head.
So is it? Yeah, double tap.
Pay attention.
No gun there either, and they got rid of it after they did 2-shot.
Pay attention to the Patriot Hour's innuendos, like the double shot in the back of the head. That has nothing to do with today, but you will catch these little phrases we'll throw at you. It's all part of a bigger goal.
So look at this. 2012, the total was 33,000. That only went up by 100, but it's steadily, and then it went down one year in 14, just by a couple hundy.
Ooh, then it went up big time.
Yeah, 2015.
Ooh, yeah, it went up 2,003. Oh, yeah, there we go. Annual average. The average bumped up quite a bit just in a couple of years. And I wonder what that was. Who was in office during those? I mean, can we blame? I mean, there's a lot of people out there in Facebook land that, or the media world that would love to blame one person.
Yeah.
I
Well, these
guess.
are all Obama era years, right?
Oh, shh, can't say that. You can't say
Don't
that.
say his name no more.
But if Trump was,
Oh.
yeah, yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah, you went there. And some smart ass will come back. I'm sorry, pardon the language, but some smart ass will come back and say, well, Obama didn't have control of the House at the time, so all those crazy white Republicans are responsible for that stat.
Yes.
And they always are. It's the crazy white Republicans that are always to blame.
Yeah, and just to be clear, like me and Scott both here, we've talked about it. We're not for any one person. If somebody does something dirty, we're going to call it out right here. We'll call it out through this microphone, or if I was nose to nose to you,
Yep.
I would call you out.
And call me out if you catch me being wrong.
Yeah, and we're going to be the first to admit we report something wrong, or we misled you, or we said something one week, but we'll get back on and we'll apologize. We're not bigger than that. So, but I'm not really a Democrat or a Republican. I used to think this or that, or think I was this, but anymore I am a constitutionalist, and I go for what's right and what's best for the country. So whoever's for that is who I back.
You see, being constitutionalist, you can't ever be wrong. I don't think you can be.
No.
There's a constitution, there's a set of laws, there's a bill of
That's it.
rights.
Just enforce them and live by them, and don't try to use them against me. Or we vote these people in. That's what we do. We listen, we vote them in, and then they're up on stage trying to. Well, you don't need your First or Second Amendment so much anymore, and then they're trying to,
I do love how they try to convince me. They might be convincing some of you listeners, but they're not convincing me that my rights I had yesterday aren't nearly important today.
Yeah.
We have a better plan. Well, go ahead and try to make what it would be the 28th Amendment. Go ahead and try to make the 28th Amendment, and by what I mean by that is go ahead and in the 28th Amendment say we're nullifying the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
And then hold your breath. Because we none of us want that. None of us. It's not going to be good for the country. So I am going to agree with all of you or any of you that say, well, there are things we can do. Absolutely. But let's sit down as a people and probably not include lawyers or politicians because agendas. But you give me a police officer, a firefighter, a cook, Mike and I, our wives, whoever in the community, let's sit down at the local community center and go over these topics. And that's the biggest thing. If we can do this calmly, we'll get somewhere. But anytime we ask our politicians to do it for us, or lawyers, or you come in angry, people quit listening to you when you start yelling and screaming or use lawyerisms. So there are answers. I have a few opinions. I'm sure you have some opinions, Mike, and I know the listeners will have some opinions. But arguing about it isn't going to get us anywhere, and taking them from good, solid Americans isn't ever going to be the answer.
No, I agree. Well, like JFK said, to go down the road to give up all of our freedoms and liberties in the name of security is a dangerous, dangerous road. And, once you give some idiots something, it's really hard to get back.
Yeah.
They don't want to give it up. They know they should give it up, but they're not going to. So don't give up anything, and everything anymore seems to be blanketed under this huge, national security. So, no.
The Patriot Act?
Yeah,
exactly.
NDAA, Patriot Act.
20-second commercial on the Patriot Act. Look into it. Do your own research. I was a supporter of certain people that were in office at that time, and then as I researched 9/11, what I got out of 9/11, whether we were responsible as a government or whoever, the conspiracy theories, those are fun to get into and dabble in, and we will later. Mike's got some really good views on that. But, the Patriot Act, all it really did is strip us down of our rights a little bit more. And this is a big reason why I'm doing this show with Mike is pay attention to the little nibbles. I always talk about pizzas and biting things off a little at a time in order to solve your problems. Well, there are a group of people that are nibbling at our rights as well. They take a little every couple of years. Maybe they took 2 or 3 of your rights over 10 years and you didn't pay attention. And then one day you wake up and a lot of your rights are gone. And the Patriot Act is one of them. It was, you just have to read up on it. We'll do a show on that sometime soon, hopefully. That seems to be one of my favorite topics of debate is who won and who lost with 9/11? Well, New Yorkers lost, number one. American citizens in that city, that great city. I've been to that city. It's not some place that I would like to live, but I've been there, and I'm telling you, there's a lot of good folks in New York, and they lost. They were the number one victims. Americans were the number two. But as a citizen, I was number three, and so were you. And we'll get into that some other time, but that's a deep one. That one will take 2 or 3 hours, and I'm sure we'll get all kinds of hate mail from non-conspiratists. So we'll be factual. The conspiracy show that Mike will give you on that one day will blow your mind. But I'm going to ask Mike here in a minute whenever he's done saying what he's got to say. I hope we can walk away for just a few moments. I need a break.
All right. We can just, we'll close this video out and we can start right back up. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was some gun debate and some Q posts for sure. You guys let us know what you want to hear, what you think. If you have any kind of suggestions, or you want to, just give us some, feedback. That's what we're looking for right now. Any kind of feedback, any kind of suggestions, anything that you would like to see or hear or us to go over.
We'll do it.
We'll do it. Give us some topics. Give us some feedback. What do you think about that, Scott?
Well, I'll say this, to be honest. Early on in the baby stages of this show, if you're watching this and you're hearing this, get your questions or your topics now. You're going to be at the top of the list. Hopefully, in a few short months, maybe you won't be at the top of that list because we'll be flooded, and that's the goal. But right now, we're getting started. We're going to be talking about things that are near and dear to us. Hopefully, we're going to try to pick some that are near and dear to you. But we're not mind readers. So, again, baby stages, your topic will be at the top of the list. So if you email them in or you comment onto this, Mike and I will try our best to follow up on it. But don't wait till July or August or even this time next year, because you're not going to stand out real bad.
No, exactly. I'm thinking, we get going here too. We're going to have some gear. We're talking about, we need some koozies and some other things, and we're going to be giving away. This is in the future, but just if you haven't subscribe, please. That way you don't miss any new content coming out. We're here to break it down for you in a manner that is truthful, but yet
understanding too.
Yep,
we like to use basic language. We're not ever going to use lawyerisms. One, I can't understand most of them, and nor do I think it's right. So one of the biggest problems we have in D.C. is lots of lawyers, and none of us can understand it but them. So that's evidence number one that their agenda is going to work if you can't understand what they're telling you.
All right. Well, I am Mike, and from the Patriot Hour.
Scott from the Patriot Hour.
And we will be back with, the most latest breaking news that you can find. And we're going to have at least some facts for you every time, and probably a little bit of opinion as well. But,
Going to hit these guns hard, going to hit them hard. I'm going to get amped up here. I'm going to take my break, but we're going to come back and hit it real hard about the gun topic.
All right. You heard it here first. Mike and Scott from the Patriot Hour. We'll see you guys on the next round.
Protect your rights.